In this video, we will start our discussion about the second macroeconomic indicator, which is the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate, or the number of jobs created, tells us how well our labor market is doing. In the previous chapter, when we talk about GDP, we said it measures how much the economy produces. So here we're talking about how many jobs the economy creates and how many people are still out there out of employment, right? Some of you probably think that the unemployment rate is very straightforward and you don't need to check out this chapter to know what it means. But you're gonna find some tricks which you probably are not aware of, and you can also find that among these indicators there might be some misleading or self-contradicting things. Okay, now let's check them out. The current month unemployment rate can be found on the website of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a government agency under Labor Department. Okay? Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, is in charge of collecting the data and report them. Okay, and here I don't want to switch back and forth in trying to show you, where exactly you can find. We can probably do that during our online virtual meeting. The first Friday of each month, BLS will report the previous month unemployment rate and the number of jobs created. Okay. Now here I just want to show you two interesting reports from the BLS. The first one is January 2020. Okay, and this is the very first paragraph I got from that report. Okay, the report released on the first Friday of February, and it says that in January the unemployment rate was 3.6%, which is 1/10 percentage point above that in December 2019. In other words, a month earlier. Now, when you look at these, you are probably under the impression that, well, the economy was not doing as well as it did back in December, right? Because the unemployment rate went up a little bit, okay, 1/10 percentage point. It's a small increase, but it's still an increase, right? Let's continue looking at this paragraph. The second sentence says the number of jobs it added was 225,000 compared with the monthly average of 175,000 created in the past 12 months. In other words, if you just look at the second sentence, you were probably under the impression that, the economy did pretty well in terms of creating jobs, right? Because in the past 12 months, the average is 175,000. And the economy in January created more than that, okay, 225,000. Now, if the economy created more jobs than the past year, how could the unemployment went up a little bit? That's what I just meant by self-contradictory. Okay. Now you may thought, well, this might be just kind of the outlier, right? It's not happening very often. So because of the statistics, there might be some discrepancies between these two numbers collected or reported. So there might be occasionally these numbers could move towards a different or even the opposite directions. Now let me show you one more. You can actually find a lot, okay, in the historical archives on the BLS. Now this is another one released on the first Friday in October 2017. So it reports the situation in September. Okay, and here it says the unemployment rate was 4.2% in September 2017, 0.2 percentage points below that in August. In other words, the unemployment rate tells us that the economy did better in September 2017 than August, a month earlier. Look at the number of jobs here. The number of jobs it added was minus 33,000 compared with the monthly average of 172,000 created in the past 12 months. In other words, when you just look at the number of jobs created, the economy lost 33,000 jobs in that month. It did much worse than the previous 12 months. So if we just look at the number of jobs, we probably would guess that the unemployment rate should went up. Okay? But again, the reported unemployment rate actually went down from the previous month. Okay? So in this chapter, we're going to check out, what's going on here. Why the unemployment rate and the number of jobs created could move towards the opposite direction. Okay, so we're gonna check out here in this chapter, what do these numbers mean? How do government get them? What do the numbers tell us compared to the historical data? Okay, all right. Now, to be able to understand these labor market indicators, we have to start with the categories of the population and their relationship. Or more specifically, we want to show you the breakdown, the demographic breakdown that the Labor Department follows in their survey or their data connection and reporting process. Okay. Now here we start with the total population in the United States, if we use the US as an example. Okay. Now the first thing the Labor Department does is to break it down on the basis of age. Okay, so if a person is older than 16, then we're gonna put him or her into this group called working age population. Okay, or sometimes it's an adult population. If you're younger than 16 or in military or institutionalized, they're going to put you into group 1. Okay. Now here, institutionalized means someone in jail or in hospital, so they are not supposed to be involved in any production. Okay, that's why it's called institutionalized. Now, this is actually the first layer of breakdown. Okay, and after we finish these, the Labor Department focuses on the working age population and break this group down further. Okay, now this time we find that if someone is above 16 but in school full time, like you guys as college students, or retired, probably like your grandparents, then they're gonna put them into group 2. Okay, so these people are in the working age population, but they are not supposed to work either. Okay, and so they're gonna be in group 2, and what's left over is going to be put into this group called labor force. Okay, so this is the second layer of the breakdown. The third one, we're going to continue focusing on the first thing here, labor force, and break it down into two groups. If you're in the labor force, you have a job, then the government will put you into this group of employed. If you are not, in other words, you're in the labor force but you're out of employment, then they're gonna put you into this group, unemployed. Okay, and we still have the group 1 and group 2 here. All right, now let me use a Venn diagram to show you the relationship among these different groups. Okay, now suppose we use this big box here, okay, representing the total US population. Okay, the big box representing the US population. All right, now we find that here within this big box there's a blue box here inside of the bigger one. Okay, and these would be our working age population. Working age population. All right, and you would find that what's outside of the blue box, but inside of the red one would be group 1. Okay, group 1. Again, younger than 16, mandatory or institutionalized. Okay, and now let's show the next one, which is the labor force. Okay, labor force is going to be an even smaller box inside of the blue one. Okay, so this guy here is the labor force. All right, and then what's outside of the yellow box but inside of the blue one would be group 2. Okay, now finally within this yellow box of the labor force, let's divide it into two groups. Okay, and we know that most of them are going to be employed. Okay, but there still have a small portion of them here within the yellow box, but they are unemployed. Okay, so here this Venn diagram hopefully can help you better understand the relationship among these different demographic groups. Okay, now once we understand these, in the next video we're going to start talking about the first labor market indicator, which is called labor force participation rate.